Hey y'all, I'm Paula Dean, and today we're gonna pay tribute to the people that keep us safe. That's right, we're cooking for our troops. So we're gonna head over to Fort Stewart for a little taste of Army life today. After we work up a little appetite, I'm gonna head back to my kitchen where I'll be serving my country by serving up a meal for these brave men and women. First up, it's some of the crispiest, juiciest fried pork chops you'll ever taste. And what could go better with fried pork chops than fried okra? It's a true Southern favorite. And to finish it all off, I'm making Sonny's Sunshine Cake, a light citrusy dessert that's the perfect closer for any meal. So come with me for a little PT. Today, I'm joining the Army. You know, I was just sitting here resting a minute and catching my breath, and I couldn't help but recall a conversation between Michael and me the other day. He said, Paula, let's try to never take our life or our love for each other for granted. And one of the reasons why we're able to enjoy the lifestyle that we do is because of a group of brave men and women. And those are the people that I'm going to be going to see today. So y'all stay and make the trip with me. We're gonna run right down here to Fort Stewart and have fun in the kitchen.
Hello, Paula. Today we're our troops. We're gonna take you out and do some physical training.
You are?
Yes, we are. Are you ready?
Do I look ready? Are y'all ready?
Again.
Oh, wow!
All right.
Uh-oh. I thought I was coming here to eat.
Attention!
I didn't realize I was gonna have to work for my supper.
Platoon, attention!
Hard as a rock!
Circular formation, follow me!
Y'all are going too fast! When are we gonna stop?
Platoon, attention! In cadence! In cadence! Follow me! 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Come on, Paula! We can't see you jumping! 1, 2, 3. All right, shake it out, shake it out! All right, I'm gonna show you this. This is called the push-up.
Okay. Okay, men and women, front, lean, and rest, position. Move. Move. Wait, where are we going?
Nowhere.
I don't think I like this.
All right, here we go. Okay. Down. Up. Down. Up. Down.
Down.
Up. Up. You say position of attention. Move.
Position of attention. Move. At ease. Well, Sergeant Haley, we did it, didn't we, girl?
Hooah!
Hooah! And that's a fact, Jack.
That's a fact.
Forward march! You know, all this training sure does work up an appetite, and it's just lucky for us that I happen to bring along some apple crisp. I'm just hoping it's gonna feed everybody. Y'all start eating fast. There's some Cool Whip down there, and there's some spoons. Before y'all leave, just gotta say something to y'all. Thank you for doing your job and allowing me to live in a free country. Thank you so, so much. So let's eat up. With all that working out this morning, that apple crisp didn't begin to fill us up. So what do y'all say we head on back to the kitchen and whip up a real meal to bring back to our troops? You know, one of the reasons why I wanted to go to Fort Stewart is they were some of the first men that were shipped out for Iraq. And the fact of the matter is, I have a great deal of respect for our servicemen, whether they work in the kitchen or in the field. I would like to cook them a special meal that will not only feed their belly, but will also feed their soul. I know I tell y'all, this is my favorite food, this is my favorite food. Actually, y'all, I have a list about this wide, and maybe I have 12 favorite things, but a pork chop is very close to my heart. And probably in the truest sense of the word. But I love a pork chop. And these are really, really thick. That's all right. I'm gonna beat them down a little bit. And I'm gonna put me a towel up here so I won't splatter my shirt. But I'm gonna take this meat mallet and just break them down a little bit. You'll have to be easy on that tenderloin side because it's naturally so tender, and you don't want to beat it to death. Okay, I think this is enough. Now, I'm gonna season these up, not too much because I don't want them too salty. I'm gonna just kind of rub that in on them. Just me and my pork chop. All right, now I'm gonna put these in my bowl and pour a little buttermilk over them. And the buttermilk will help that flour stick to them. And I'm not gonna drench them, I'm just enough to kind of wet them. I'll let them sit there a minute. If you want to produce a nice crust, you need something wet to make that flour stick to your meat. Now I'm gonna take some house seasoning, which is garlic powder, black pepper, and salt. And I'm gonna just season our flour. And then I'm gonna dip these pork chops into the flour. I'm just gonna kind of press that down in them. Just kind of dredge them good. Now that's a pork chop, isn't it? Now we're gonna drop them in 350-degree peanut oil. And you'll notice that I'm deep frying my pork chops. I think our grease was just about perfect. And naturally you wanna wash your hands real good. And clean any of your surfaces that had raw meat on it. All right, I'm smelling those good. These pork chops got a couple of more minutes though, and I want y'all to come back because next we're gonna be tasting these fabulous pork chops. We're also gonna be frying some okra, and we're gonna make a sunny sunshine cake. All right, we're back, and these pork chops are looking good. They might still need another minute or so. I'm cooking these for the army, and I think they're gonna just love them. All right, look at that pork chop. If there's a prettier pork chop around, I'd sure like to see it. And you see I'm putting these in a colander so they can drain. And we can check one of these and see if they're done. This one looks so good right here. But I'm gonna cut this one so you can see into it, and we'll check it together to see if it's done. Is that a perfect chop or what? Oh, look at that. Oh, I'm so happy. It's just out of this world. The next thing I'm fixing to make is another one of my favorite foods, and that's fried okra. We sometimes refer to this as Southern popcorn. Now, all I'm doing right now is I'm finishing up, cutting up some fresh okra. Now, I'm gonna transfer it into a larger bowl, and I'm gonna toss it with a little buttermilk. Just a little, and I'm not gonna make it sopping wet. In fact, I cook my okra very, very much like I cook my pork chops. So I just wanna dampen this okra to make that flour stick. All right, now I've got that pretty well tossed. Now I'm gonna season it, and I'm gonna just sprinkle it with our house seasoning. I'm gonna let that sit for a second, and I'm gonna come over here and check our grease. And you'll notice that I'm gonna fry this okra in the very same grease that I fried the pork chops in. Now I'm gonna just take our flour and toss that okra in that flour. All right. Now something very, very important. You wanna kinda shake off your okra because you don't want all that loose flour going to the bottom of your pot and just burning. There's very few things that I disagree with my grandmother's cooking, but okra is one of them. Now, Grandma always dusted hers in cornmeal. My mother used flour, and so I have followed in my mother's footsteps there. And I'm kind of just gonna leave it alone for a minute because you don't want to risk knocking that batter off the okra. If you feel like you've got to move your pan a little bit, then just give it a little shake like that, but don't stir it. All right, I think our okra is just perfect. Spiders work wonderful, y'all, for fried okra. Look how much I can get out of there at one time. And I want to kind of give it a little shake to get that grease out of there. Perfect southern fried okra. Does look like popcorn, doesn't it? All right, now I'm gonna slip this paper out from underneath the okra. There we go. Golden, perfectly fried okra with pork chops. It's unbelievable. So good. And if it's not salty enough for you, you'll want to salt it like immediately. It's out of this world, y'all. I really hope that you'll try it. This next recipe I'm fixing to make is not one of my recipes. I have so many friends, some I've met and some I haven't. Well, I've met this woman, her name is Sunny, and she was in the restaurant one day and she said, I've got a great recipe I'd love to give to you. So I think it's perfect to end this with Sunny's sunshine cake. And I've got 6 yolks already busted in here, so we're gonna turn this on. And I'm gonna add a half a cup of water. About a teaspoon of vanilla. Ooh, and that's pure vanilla. It smells so good. You could probably add a lemon extract or an orange, would make it real good too. All right, now I'm gonna add 2 cups of sugar, and we're gonna let this beat now for 7 minutes. In the meantime, I'm gonna come over here and I'm gonna sift our flour and baking powder and a half a teaspoon of salt. Since this is gonna take a while, I think I'll take a quick break now, and while I'm off working on this, I wanna show you some home movies from Fort Stewart. And we'll wrap all this up in just a couple of minutes.
Come on, Paula. We can't see you jumping. Put those hands high.
All right. Now, I'm really making 2 cakes today, and I just got that one placed in the window, but I want to finish showing y'all how I got from here to here. So while we won't break, I got the yolks beat, and now I'm fixing to take those egg whites, and we're going to beat those until they're very firm like a meringue, and I'm going to add a little cream of tartar. And we're gonna beat this on real high speed. You'll wanna make sure when you go to beat your meringue that you've got clean, dry beaters with no type of oil or anything on them, because the yolks on the beaters would mess up our whites and they wouldn't do right. So you wanna make sure they're clean. I think those are good. So now we've sifted our flour one time, but we're gonna sift it one more time. And while y'all were gone, that sifter was so slow on me, I went and found a little better sifter, so hopefully we'll be able to go a little bit faster. We're just gonna keep doing that until we have all the flour folded into our egg yolk mixture. You wanna go down, up, and over. And you wanna be fairly gentle when you're folding in one ingredient to the other. All right, I've got this all folded in. What we're gonna do now to finish up our cake is we're gonna pour our egg yolk mixture into our egg whites, and we're gonna fold them in. I'm trying to do this just like Sunny's recipe reads, and I wanna make sure that we wind up with the same light, wonderful cake that she does. This batter smells real eggy. It almost smells like eggnog to me. All right, so we're just gonna make sure that we fold that in real good. And now we're gonna pour this into a 10-inch ungreased bundt pan. All right. And I'm using the kind that has a lift-out bottom. All right. And then she tells me to run it through the batter with a spatula to release any air bubbles. Okay. So this is ready to go into the oven. We're going to bake it at like 325 degrees for about 60 minutes. And Sonny also said, bake this the second rack from the bottom. In 1 hour, we should have our second delicious cake ready to come out of the oven. But in the meantime, I've got this one cooled in the window now, so I'm gonna make the icing to go on it. This icing that Sonny uses is very, very simple. All right, now I'm gonna take just powdered sugar, and I think Sonny called this her orange buttercream icing. And you're fixing to know why she calls it buttercream. So we got 2 sticks of butter and 2½ cups of powdered sugar or confectionery sugar. And we're just gonna beat this up. I believe Sonny might be a girl after my own heart. I like her recipe. All right, now a little orange juice. And you wanna make sure to add just a little bit at the time, because you can always add 2, but you can't take it out. Okay, let's see. Sonny, that's good. So, let's get our cake. And one of the most important things about this cake, before we ice it, we want to make sure it's totally cool, because just a little bit of heat from it would make it run everywhere. All right, so I'm just gonna run this down the side. This is so light. Can't hardly wait to taste it. Looks yummy. But I think this definitely should go into the refrigerator, especially if you've made this during the summer and you got hot weather. Now, for garnish, I think I'm gonna do the orange zest. If you don't have a microplane, make sure you get one. These are fabulous for zest. We're just gonna sprinkle that on there. So I think I'm just gonna put a little fresh mint, and I think I'll just put a little orange twist, kind of nestle that down in there. And I think that's all this cake needs. Well, maybe it needs my fork. Here we go, Sonny. Oh gosh, it cuts just like a sponge cake or an angel food cake. Wow, kapow. Is Michael gonna love this one or what? Look how light and fluffy he is. He's just kind of jiggling on that plate. Sonny is out of this world. And when we come back, I want to share with y'all some tips on transporting food wherever you need to take it and getting it there in one piece. So I'll see y'all in a minute. How come you're not chewing?
Here we go.
I feel so good. Transporting food can create a challenge. So I wanted to show y'all a couple of things that I've found that work for me. For my pork chops, I want them to stay nice and crispy. I take parchment paper and I cover them, and I bring in a rubber band at each end. So this allows the steam to escape, but at the same time keeps it covered. And for that cake, I have my frosting and everything on the side, so when I get there, I'll just quickly frost the cake and it'll be perfect. And just in case you didn't know this or not, a cooler works 2 ways. It can work to keep food warm, or it can work to keep food cold. So I hope some of these tips that I've shared with you today will help you the next time you're wanting to transport a picnic. Well, I've got my cooler and I've got my traveling cake pan, and I've got all their food ready, and I just want to give y'all a quick rundown of this wonderful meal for these hard-working men and women. I've got southern fried pork chops and a sunny sunshine cake, and I've got this wonderful southern fried okra. I can hardly wait to get this meal over to them. But before I do, I want to wish everybody, but especially the women and the men that serve in our military forces, best dishes and love from my kitchen to yours.